And I got somebody joining me that has the young culture, all the YNs talking right now. Like, who the hell is Representative Jordan Lopez? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Representative Jordan Lopez to the show. What's up, sir?
What's going on? How's it going?
Man, you
Thank you for having me
you
on.
you have the whole entire state talking right now. This is, we're talking about and this isn't the first time that a bill like this has been introduced. What makes this bill so significant now?
Several things. I think one of the sponsors being myself, who filed it. I'm young. I'm black. I'm one of the newest members here. It's a pretty daunting issue to take on in your first term. So I think that in and of itself is a pretty unique part about this bill. But another part about this bill that I hope gets talked about more is the reinvestment part that is attached to it. We are trying to regulate it, assign a tax to it, sales tax to it, excuse me. And a lot of that revenue will go right back into the communities that have been historically impacted by the war on drugs, particularly Black and brown communities. Our state is heading very quickly towards a fiscal cliff, meaning the amount of money that we spend every year versus how much money we bring in revenue. It's starting to, they don't line up too much anymore. And beginning in 2027, we will be operating at a deficit. This bill allows us to fill some of those funding deficits, some of those funding shortfalls, excuse me, but then make much needed and long overdue investments into parts of our community that have gone without. Part of that program includes home ownership programs, scholarships for students who come from low to moderate income schools, reentry services for folks who are just getting out of incarceration and who may need a little bit of assistance. As we know, that's a tough transition to make, and we want to do what we can to prevent recidivism. This bill would help fund programs to address that. So there's a lot in there that I think just makes it a great bill. And then there's enough going on right now in the world to where this is also a good time for it.
It's crazy that you mentioned the war on drugs and how it impacted the Black community, because out of all the times that I think a bill like this has been introduced, I don't think none of them ever had this kind of significant angle where it was geofence, so to say, on one specific ethnic background. So kudos to you for being the first, in my opinion, doing that. I'm sure there were so many people that told you there's better things that a young politician could do to introduce a bill. What was those conversations like that translated you to push the envelope to go forward with it?
Well, I think that we got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Good leaders should be able to focus on more than just one priority at a time. And we are up here not only working on relief for our neighbors in Western North Carolina who are trying to get back on their feet after Hurricane Helene last year, but we are also up here talking, or at least I'm up here talking about affordable housing as well. Up here talking about legalizing marijuana, but also looking at what we can do to address food insecurity, to address healthcare disparities. So, I mean, we should be able to talk about and work on several different things at the same time. Now, the bandwidth is difficult. Like, it's not easy to do all of that at the same time, but it's possible. And we've got the time, we've got the resources, we've got to do it. And so that's what I would say to folks who ask, like, why focus on this? It's not the only thing I'm focused on. My first bill that I filed was a fair and affordable housing bill that does a number of different things. But knowing the excitement around marijuana legalization, I figured this would probably get the attention that it has been getting. But trust me, there are a lot of irons in the fire. We're working on more than just marijuana legalization, and that's how a legislature should be able to act.
How does this affect the dispensary owners? Because does that affect the way that they now sell to consumer, or is it still the same rules apply?
Well, we don't currently have legal weed dispensaries in North Carolina. This bill would allow for that to be a thing. But the product that they sell to their consumers, their customers, would be regulated. We'd be lab tested. We want to make sure that if we're going to put this on the market, or that we're going to make this legal in our state, that what people are getting and able to buy from stores legally is safe, that it is controlled, and that we are doing this the right way. So this would affect them to the extent of where they're able to purchase that from. We're hoping that longer term, North Carolina can become a hotspot for cultivation and growing. Eastern North Carolina has a lot of farmland and local farmers who would be able to capitalize off of marijuana being legalized and the ability to grow and sell. So that would be kind of the initial thought process on how dispensaries would be able to get in on this and how consumers would be affected by it.
Yeah, because a whole lot of them are asking, man, and I don't know if you check the comments or whatever on Instagram, but that's the first thing that came up is, what do we do about the dispensaries that they go to? How does that work? What are the qualifications if this may be something for small business owners to? I'm just saying it straight up. Legalizing marijuana in North Carolina, everybody's going to want to be El Chapo. So how do we regulate that now?
I mean, that's a great question. But ensuring that they are selling, as I mentioned before, tested, regulated, controlled marijuana that is not just something that they got from their wannabe El Chapo down the block, but something that was grown in a lab certified, a regulated farm or grower here in the state or elsewhere that is controlled pursuant to the laws and the policies that the department creates. Should this be passed into law, that is a very long way away, but they would be responsible to adhere to the regulations put in place by not only this law, but the department that would oversee the office that would regulate it.
Brandon, what's your viewpoint? I know you want to say something.
Yeah. Well, we've seen I guess a growing sentiment across the country, at least to move towards legalizing medical marijuana. Representative Lopez, do you feel like there's that movement now to legalize recreational marijuana, or at least in North Carolina, where I know you've got a GOP-held General Assembly? What do you think is the possibility of getting movement on that to be a bill that not only is proposed, but then also passes?
Well, with respect to my bill, I say very slim. And it's going to take a lot of advocacy, a lot of persistence with leadership to get them to even give it a fair shot at being heard. There is a bill that has been filed for the past couple of sessions, if I'm not mistaken, the Compassionate Care Act. It's been filed by a Republican senator who wants to see medical marijuana legalized in the state. And that's kind of how you have to look at these conversations here. They happen in two different tracks. One track is, well, actually, I guess three different tracks. One track says we don't want weed at all, medical or recreational. Another track that is medical only. And then the track that I find myself in and fully supporting is recreational, being legalized for recreational and medical purposes. So medical has stalled in the legislature the past two bienniums that bill has been introduced. This recreational bill probably will not even get a hearing. Similar bills have been filed in the past to legalize marijuana here in North Carolina. They have not gotten a fair hearing. So I'm not approaching this thinking that my bill will be treated extraordinarily different. They probably won't give it a fair shot either. But would love to have conversations about even the medical marijuana piece, because I think even that is a step in the right direction for so many different groups of people who are affected by a variety of diseases or injuries or different things that they have found comfort and relief in from cannabis. So.
Now, I am super excited, and I'll be the first to tell you, I cannot wait until this passes. You let me know, so I cannot feel like I'm like the black stepchild of Charlotte when I decide to go get me a damn burger or something on a Saturday morning after working for the man all damn week. All right, Representative Jordan Lopez, I appreciate you coming on the show. We're gonna take a short PSA break, and when we come back, we got hot topics. It's the Coaching Check and House Bill 413. Please get it through. Appreciate you for joining the show.